Hello, Dr. Crockett and Dr. Crocker here with Zeal Integrated Health, and today we're going to talk about some foods that can really aggravate thyroid conditions. And a lot of people don't put this connection together because these are sometimes subtle issues that develop over time. And the immune system basically can target or be focused on some of the foods that you eat because they have DNA that might mimic your tissue's DNA. And as your body might make antibodies to that food, it ultimately then turns against your body, destroying, in this case, the thyroid gland or the thyroid hormone itself, and maybe some of the enzymes that make the thyroid. So there's a couple different tissues it can target. But there's a couple foods that are probably the two that we talk about the most, and that's gluten and dairy. And a lot of times people don't realize what just a little bit of some of these foods can do. It can go a long ways. How long does antibodies stay in the body with these?
Yeah, you can see gluten last up to 6 months in your system. You can see dairy last up to 4 months in your system. So a lot of times, you'll hear, well, I just ate a little bit of it, or I just, I only ate it once. Well, that one time can last 6 months in your system, and it can affect other things that cause in your system. It can lead to more autoimmunities.
Yeah, we've seen, certain things like gluten. They'll actually cause the gut wall to break down, and it activates the immune system more.
Yeah.
So you're almost, anytime you're eating gluten, you're driving that disease process, that autoimmune process, and just the potential of having an autoimmune disorder.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. So when we look at things like gluten, and you go, well, there's probably a small percentage of the population that are so extremely sensitive to gluten, they get diagnosed with celiacs.
Yep.
And there's probably a small percentage, maybe up to 3% of the population that deals with celiac. There's going to be people that have, on a range of things, a sensitivity to gluten. Yep. And so some people will eat it and they have severe reactions. Then other people, it might be small things that occur with them. And so I would say this is stepping out a little bit, but most people have a reaction to gluten.
Yes.
It's just something our body doesn't break down well. And so it's how much can you tolerate, and so some people, they cheat, right?
Yeah.
They we're right in the middle of the holidays right now, and so they go to some family member's house and they just kind of cheat with that gluten, and they think, well, I'll get away with it. It was just a couple bites of it, or I just had one slice of this or one piece of that.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's what triggers that immune system. And just like you said, 6 months that you have these antibodies in your system because you had that one little piece of that. So it's something that does increase risk of autoimmune disorders, and it's going to have a lot of other symptoms that it can drive, not just gut issues, but it can affect even mental aspects, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of times people will come in and they'll just say, I've been depressed, or I have this anxiety, and I don't know where it started. I go to the doctor and they say, well, your blood work looks fine, everything is okay. But it almost seems like the more that I eat and the more that I get bloated, it seems like my depression or my anxiety gets worse. And that's where that leaky gut comes into play, where you start to get into, starts to affect the brain, gut-brain barrier. And so that's where you're going to lead into more of an autoimmune condition. It can even cause more autoimmunity down the road, flare up that immune system, and then starts to go after other tissues in the body as well.
So I hope this helps clarify a little bit about food and how it interacts with the thyroid, but I'd like to end on this. The key is really testing. Yeah. And a lot of times running a food sensitivity test, and there's a lot of different ones out there, but that is the first step in really identifying which foods that your immune system is reacting to and causing problems with your health. So if you'd like to learn more about that, give us a call at the office.